Well, first of all, let me say thanks for having me, of course, and to all the viewers who are here. Thank you so much for having Oscar B, you know, in front, full on person, up front and in person. It's nice to be with you guys. How I started, I started from a very tender age in Tobago as a youth man going to school. Started singing from tender age, about 7, 8, primary school, secondary school, as we say, comprehensive school. And you know, take it from there, and it went straight up to the big boys, the pros, you know, the money making vibes. So I've been doing it for quite a years. I'm spanning over, I will say, from I started singing, I'll say I'm probably spanning over 35, 40 years.
Great.
Singing.
What gave you that the first spark? Who or what? Did you hear a sound? Did you know, who or what gave you that first spark to start doing this type of music?
The first spark is just that I started from primary school, so it was just a love of music. And you know what? One of my eldest brother was a DJ, and he was always playing music. So of course, there's always music in the house. There's always music playing out. You know, I used to always love music. I love the vibes of music. Bob Marley, listen to Bob Marley and all these guys as a youngster coming up, the Sparrows, the Kitcheners and stuff like that. So it was always there, but I think from school, primary school is what nurtured me to become a lover of music and singing. Thanks to Cheryl Duncan, Mike Duncan out of Tobago, who started the Scarborough Methodist School Choir, the junior school. Methodist is a primary school.
Right.
And from the Scarborough Methodist Choir, I started singing from there and took everything.
Great.
It was his history.
And you're from Signal Hill.
I'm from Signal Hill, Tobago.
Tobago.
Yeah.
Talk about a little bit about growing up in Tobago and how that may have influenced the music that you do today.
Well, as you know, as a Tobagonian, they will always say sometimes you're born one way, you grew up one way, and you lived another place. So I was actually born in John Dial. My mom is from Lambo, and I grew up, spent most of my child life in Signal Hill. So I know Signal Hill more than I know, of course, everywhere else.
Right.
Signal Hill was a big influence, and I also was a footballer as well too.
Right.
I used to play football, represent my school, from primary school straight up to senior comprehensive school, Signal Hill comprehensive. Played under Bertel Sinclair, has traveled the world playing football, been to England in tournaments, been to Canada in tournaments, winning tournaments, you know, coming to Trinidad, winning intercall and stuff like that. But the singing has always been a part of me because something I take it personal. Mm-hmm. It's more me.
Right.
Football is, you know, is teamwork. Mm-hmm. You gotta work together, cohesiveness. But singing was me. I could have done what I wanted to do, what I feel, and how I feel to express myself. So singing basically took the precedence of Oscar B where you come to the talent.
Now, talk about the first hit that you had in terms of what was the first time that you realized that, yes, I could do this professionally in terms of, you know, going from one thing to being choir and doing that.
The first time, well, because growing up, you had things like Teen Talent, and you had Scouting for Talent and these different outlets for singers. And it was then that I knew that, hey, you know, because I was just doing it as fun. It was fun. I remember coming back from a trip, and we went to England and the team, and we came back, and of course when we went, I always singing. There's always something to sing in the bus. There's always a vibes taking place when we're traveling. And I came back and I decided, you know, let me take a little chance at Scouting for Talent. And did well. Teen Talent, when I was going to secondary school, under John Arnold, we went to Teen Talent, we did very well. So I knew there was something there. But when I actually knew that it's something I'm gonna be focusing on, is when I came to Trinidad and I went to Party Time. Party Time, Nestle Party Time. That's when I knew that there was something in this entertainment. It was then and there that I really discovered myself as an artist, because it was as I say to people, basically was a kind of hustle. It's something that was happening that I wanted to be a part of. I attended the youth camp and I wanted to be a part of, because At that time, they were giving prize money. You know, before it was giving pizza and burgers, and it was a kids show, summertime. And then this one decided they're gonna give you cash money, and I wanted some money. You know, so
how much money was it?
But then you're getting about $500.
Right.
There's plenty of money.
That was a lot of money.
That was a lot of money, right? You know, so I went to auditions and stuff like that. You had to go audition, TTT. I went to auditions. I nailed it in the auditions. I went to the preliminaries at Upper Level Club. It was a summer thing, so only taking place the shooting on Saturdays. One Saturday they shoot and they show back the other Saturday and stuff like that. And I nailed it again, and I realized I'm moving from preliminary to semis, doing my thing, and you know the whole Trinidad people going crazy over Oscar B. I did the Brigo. So that's when I realized, hey, there's a lot of things, something in this for me.
But tell me about that song that you were kept on going with. What was that song? You remember that song?
That song was Brigo. That song was Voodoo Man. The Voodoo Man by Brigo.
Really?
Yes. So what happened is that you had to. It was a Nestle party time. So for youths. So you basically it was lip syncing. You lip sync, you dance.
Right.
That kind of talent.
Right.
So you have to lip sync and dance, and of course you have to perform like the artists would do. Because at that time a lot of videos were out, different type of videos, you know. So guys were doing Boys to Men, guys were doing Bobby McFerrin, people were doing, and I decided everybody doing a foreign artist.
Right.
I was the only artist doing a local act, right? And my local act was Brigo.
Right.
And people find it humorous because to really imitate Brigo was a task in itself, you know, because the way he used to, you know, his whole face, his mannerism, his face, his eyes, you know, he used to, you know, you had to capture that, of which I did. And that was it. That was his history. The song was the Voodoo Man. Bacchanal in the country, a ball like a cow. That was the song, and it took me straight to the finals, and it gave me a household name in Tobago. People remember that today.
Right.
Oscar B. Brigo.
Right. So now that is in Trinidad, but they're hearing it in Tobago.
Yeah, you're hearing it in Tobago, yeah. So
Right.
Trinidad and Tobago, you know.
Right.
So I was flying the Tobago flag high from since then.
Definitely. Now, you signed with a lot of different bands. How did that come to be?
Wow. It came to be, well, when I started back in the 80s, as I said, I was going to the youth camp. The first band I sang with is a band called Starflash, out of Bukmala Tree Sour, a school band.
Right.
And back then, there had a lot of school bands all over the place, you know. So I sang with Starflash, and then Starflash had dissolved, and then we formed another band out of that band called Black Sheep. And from that, I moved on to bands like Black Sheep. I did Blue Ventures, and from Blue Ventures, I did Byron Lee. And while with Byron Lee, I did a little stint with Image and Company. You know, so it took me along different bands, and it was a really good pleasure. But Byron Lee and the Dragonaires was my main band that I sang with. But I also did little gigs with the different bands.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, what year was that you were singing with Byron Lee?
I started singing with Byron Lee. I joined Byron Lee 10th of March 1991. That's a Saturday. 10th of March, that's the first time I left Trinidad and go to join Byron Lee. 10th of March 1991 is when I joined Byron Lee and the Dragonaires.
And how did you get the introduction to join?
The introduction took place, they came looking for a vocalist. At that time I was with Blue Ventures. And they came looking for a vocalist. And deceased Mr. Leo, one of the saxophonists of Charlie's Roots. Of course, Byron Lee and Ellis Chowling on and Charlie's Roots, they always had that camaraderie, you know, because you always bring in Charlie's Roots to Jamaica, you know, musical camaraderie. And it was fitting for them to come and go to Ellis and tell Ellis that, you know, we need a vocalist. Byron, he didn't come. Byron didn't come. He actually sent his musical director and his lead singer, Marvin Brooks and Nev Lyons. So they came and, you know, my name came up among other names. And I went to an interview, and the interview was pretty cool. But it so happened that that same night, we had a performance at the Brass Festival up in PSC. And Brass Festival, that was it. Brass Festival was the creme de la creme of fetes back then. So we're talking about 6, 7, 8 bands. All the bands used to be there, and the place is like thousands of people. So I got the opportunity to invite them to come to hear the band, hear me perform that night at Bass Festival, and as the saying goes, the rest was history. They were impressed with what they heard. They loved the vibes. I mean, I was only 21 at the time. They loved the vibe, they loved the energy. You know, they loved what I brought in terms of my command to the crowd, speaking to the crowd, you know, the whole stage presence. They loved it. And they asked me if I'd be interested, and I was like, come on, it's Bionier and the Dragonaires. Why would I not be interested? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I had to just pack up my little bundle and just head out to start a new life in Jamaica.
Right. So that took you to Jamaica.
That's what took me to Jamaica.
And did Jamaica influence now the type of music you were singing, or how you were delivering soca music?
Jamaica, to an extent, it influenced, but that influence actually came from Tobago. Even from Tobago, when I started, I was more into, growing up as a youth, into chanting. So you like to chant a lot, freestyle, you know, you chant. Everybody want to hold a mic, you know. So for that influence of listening to dancehall and reggae in Tobago, it would give me the vibes to chant. So when I get to Jamaica, the root of the whole, you know, reggae style, it just came natural to me. So when I went to Jamaica, it was so natural that a lot of people couldn't believe I was Trinidadian. Because they thought that at one point in time, I'm Jamaican because of my whole mannerism, the way I would interpret the songs, the way I would deliver the songs. Even if the band is doing a cover version of a song, the way I will deliver the song so authentic to the Jamaican slang that they thought I was Jamaican. But that real influence came from the Tobago vibes, because you know Tobago is very similar in terms of style of speak. The broken language. Tobago has, you know, you will hear the Jamaican, but Tobagoans speak the broken English as well. Right. The kind of patois, as we will call it. Right. And it's very similar to Jamaica, you know. So I will say Tobago influenced it, but Jamaica enhanced it. And Jamaica I was developed in Jamaica as an artist.
Right.
Jamaica developed me as an artist. Professionally, on stage, you name it. I was developed in Tobago because in Jamaica, going to Jamaica at 21, you know, young, fresh and green.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Now, could you make a living at that time with what you were being? Were you able to survive on what you
I was able to do a lot of things.
Yeah.
It was beautiful then. When I went to Jamaica, if I must say, when I went to Jamaica, my first and only, my son was born in June the year before, which is 1990. It's by the coup. See what I'm saying? And then the following year I went to Jamaica. So when I went to Jamaica, yeah, the living, I made a living out of that. Everything I achieved is from then, because I, you know, took care of my family, took care of my son, took care of the wife, everybody, you know, and I made a living out of it. It was really, what I will say, it was a eye opener, and it was really a good vibes, you know. So yeah, that was good. So yeah, so I made a good living out of it.
Right. So when did you come back in the fray of Trinidad back again in terms of Bionier and the Dragonaires? Did you come back to Trinidad, and how was that transition back into?
That transition was a little bit tough. It was a little bit tough. The reason why it was a little bit tough is because of I found it challenging. Even when I came back home, and I left Bionier and I came back home, I found it challenging. It was challenging because of the fact that there are people who knew the name and didn't know the person. People who knew the name and didn't know where the person was from. So I had a challenge with that. So people were saying like, Oscar B and Oscar B, but you're not from Jamaica? Or you're not from the islands? You know, so few people would have said, well, no, it's a Tobagonian kind of vibe. So it's a little bit challenging in getting work and even getting myself out there with the radio stations, with different things. It was really challenging because Bionier was basically the vehicle. I said that Bionier was no longer, of course, people tend to think that Oscar B is no longer because, you know, that's the vehicle that we carry on. So it was really, really challenging, but, you know, I just stuck with it, and it's something I believed in and love, and I am today, you know, doing my thing.
Now, in terms of that, you went solo after Byron Lee?
Solo, I went solo.
Right.
When I was with Byron Lee, I had left the band and I went on to more solo work. But I had an opportunity to work with Byron and as well do my solo work as well. So I did both.
Mm-hmm. So along the way, when did some of these hits actually take place? Things like Tati and...
Tati took place around Byron Lee era.
Mm.
Yeah, Soca Butterfly, Soca Tati. That's Byron Lee era. Yeah, so those hits were Byron Lee, but featuring Oscar B, Admiral Bailey, vocalized by myself. So those are the Byron Lee hits that I did with Byron Lee. A couple other songs that we did that were, you know, pretty good. Brass Line, I could recall Brass Line was a track, that was an up-tempo track that people didn't realize was a Byron Lee track. But it did very well for me because I entered the Soca Monarch in 1995 with Brass Line and I placed fourth, you know, a very high placing. Mm. And at that point in time, when you go to Soca Monarch, you had to deliver. Back in 1995, you had to deliver. Vocally, there was no machine running your vocals. There was no, everything has to be live. The musicians were live, back vocals live, your voice had to be live. Now people using samples. But back in 1995, you had to make sure that your vocals, your props, my props on stage wasn't, you know, thing exorbitant. My props was my family jumping up in a little costume and having a time, you know what I'm saying? But it relied back then, relied on your performance and your entertainment skills and how you could roll the crowd. And my song wasn't, I should say, wasn't, I think that's the year when Super Blue and what he won, I can't remember. But my song played on the radio, but it wasn't a played song that was just that real popular. That singing, you know, it was in facts and stuff. So the song, you should hear the song, but it wasn't that, I wouldn't say out of 10, it was probably about a 5, right? And, but what was about, the magic about back then is that you had to perform your song. You had to deliver the song. You had to sing the song. You had to entertain the people. You had to move the crowd, you know? And I ticked all the boxes. No. And it was a tough competition. I mean, placing fourth was really a milestone in my life, my career, you know? So it was good.
Right. Now, Tati Dance and also the Butterfly all came about at the same time.
Same time, yeah. The one after the other. It was the Butterfly first, and then the Tati came after. So they both came back to back. It was an answer of one, because Butterfly and Tati came out of the dancing era in Jamaica.
Right.
You know, Jamaica, that
Butterfly.
Because they like to dance. Yeah. So the dancing era of the Butterfly, and then dancing era of the Tati, you know. So we socaized it. And hence the reason you got that.
Soca Tati, right.
Soca Tati, Soca Butterfly.
Right, exactly. Now, thinking about today in terms of the music you're doing today, and I know doing it Quantum Leap, but for time as well, the music that you do today, right? What is so different about the world that you find yourself in? Because you came from the era of brass, being with the brass bands. Now probably there's tracks and all that other stuff. Yeah. Tell me about that transition and how you're able to continue to develop today.
Well, as anything else, you got to be on top of your game, and you just got to fit in. Not much brass is being used, and I will say it's kind of coming back. The brass is slowly but surely coming back into the music, because a lot of people get to realize that they're missing that sweetness of the brass. Whether it's groovy or fast, the brass really, the voicing of the brass really says something in the music. So the transition, it was a difficult transition coming out of that school into the school whereby samples, flying vocals, you know, everything is sample. But in the industry that we have to adapt, and we have to adapt fastly, or else if you don't adapt fastly, you'll be outcast, you know. So it was a hard transition, but you know, I had people around me, a lot of youths who came around me when I formed my own band, and I just had to adapt, and you know, it's cool.
Now, the music that you're working on today, what are some of the tracks that you're putting out there today?
Well, I like to do a lot of cover versions, and I soakerize a lot of cover versions as well. And I think that came from the whole Bionic era. So I take a lot of songs that I know that are popular, and I kind of cover them into soca, because I think soca music, things that we tend to fail to realize, that the international world may not know of the music. So by covering some of the songs in soca, and they're hearing it in soca, it will give them an easier chance to gravitate toward the music itself. For them to see that genre of the music is nice, the music is sweet, you know. So I tend to do a lot of cover versions, as well as I do my own original stuff that we produce.
When you say a cover version, what is exactly that mean?
So a cover version will be like, for example, a song that I will take that I think is popular. So I did, I listened to Mikey Spice do I Am I Said. When I heard I Am I Said, I'm like, you know what? I like it.
Right.
But I know I Am I Said is a Neil Diamond. Is it Neil Diamond, I think? If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But I know that song from way back then.
Right.
And I said to myself, the way I heard Mikey Spice did it, I loved it. And that nice reggae vibes. And I decided, I said, you know what? Let me put me in it. Let me put Trinidad and Tobago in it. So I decided to do a soca version. And the soca version has really take off. It's a nice vibes. The people like it, and this is it. Oops, not that one. The people love the vibe.
I know the song. It's easy to catch it when you already have a lead.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. That's what I call a cover. Exactly. Now, and that is done a lot in Jamaica. It is Jamaica.
It is Jamaica. And you know, as I said again too, even we take it back. Even when I went to Bionic in '91, and I started to be a part, get into the culture. The food, the taste, the music. JBC was the main radio station. Back then was 2 stations in '91. JBC, and I would listen to some songs on the radio, and I'd be hearing the songs, and I'm like, but that song is Sanchez's song, and then they would say no, it's a cover version. So Jamaicans used to listen to a lot of country and Western music, and take a lot of those songs and put them into reggae. So a lot of the Sanchez music, a lot of the Wayne Wonder music, the sweet songs that we're hearing, a lot of those, you name it, the singers that sing beautiful songs were actually cover versions of songs that we thought, even in Trinidad and Tobago, were the Jamaican artists' actual songs. Until, as I said again, when I got there and I realized the Jamaicans were only covering the actual songs. So I say, if we can do that as well, it could probably help the music.
Right.
So a song like this, you hear that, I am, I said, everybody in the world knows that. So no one, but the music is what's going to captivate the people to love it.
And the message is definitely different.
Correct.
You're talking about your own culture.
Correct.
Talking about Tobago. You're talking about Trinidad.
Yeah, and you change the lyrics just a bit.
Exactly.
Correct.
Now, in terms of people coming into the industry today, and what kind of advice would you give to them in terms of the changing of the music and in terms of what's going on today? How would you encourage them, or would you encourage them to get in the industry? What and how would you direct them in terms of coming into this industry today?
Well, the industry today, I mean, it's not like when I started, first and foremost. I think that the hard work that anybody around my era or me before me had put in makes it a little much more easier for a lot of the artists to just come on board and do what they have to do. So, but it's the same, to me, it carries the same format, it carries the same ingredients, which is you gotta put in your work. A lot of people, you gotta make sure you find a hole, make sure you find something to do, you know. Hustle to get your music on the radio, still doing that today. But it's easier now where the youths are concerned, social media. You put a song out, it's a nice song, you're not getting played on the radio, you market it on social media, it becomes a hit. Right. People like it. So it's different now, and it's a bit easier. But it's still hard in terms of being able to master your craft, to know that, to be sure what you're doing, because a lot of these AI things that they have and things that auto-tune, things that be able to help your vocals is fine. But when it comes to live performances, that's where the test is always at live performances. Even though, you know what, with a live performance, they run the tracks. So it's a bit easier, but in terms of what I will advise you, if once you know that you have the talent and you know and you feel that you can accomplish something by this, hey, go for it. It's not an easy game. It's hard work, and it's not everybody who chose more on the wall it will stick. It may not stick, but if you continue to throw it, one of these days it will stick actually. So I would just advise them to go for it. If that's what you want, study the craft, work hard at the craft, and just do it, and do it for love. If you're doing it for money, it's a totally different thing. Because the money may not always be there, but the love of it, and you believe in your craft, and you believe in the people, and you want to see the people smile, and you want to entertain the people and keep the people happy. Once the people are happy, then we make you happy.
Definitely.
And that's my mantra.
Definitely.
That's what keeps us going.
Yeah,
I try to keep the people happy. When I entertain from the heart. I entertain out of love. I give you what you want to hear. So I am not the kind of artist who I just do soca music. I'm a versatile artist. I could sing reggae, dancehall. But whenever I do what I do to the best of my ability. And I just give you 120%.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
You could take away the 20, but you keep the 100.
Definitely. No, people like Black Stallion, for example. I learned that he was really a dancer,
right?
And so he just got on the stage, and someone did show up or something, and then he got a chance
to sing.
Right. So I think it's also encouraging for youths to really to get a chance to get close to the industry somewhere.
Getting a chance. And sorry, one of the reasons why I had my band together is to give the youth a chance. Because when I formed Oscar B and Vibes, the band, maybe 10, 15 years ago, when I formed the band, it was about, people was like, why you want to form a band? You could do it on your own. And I'm like, yeah, no, I could do it on my own, but so many youths out there with the musical talent. How much bands could hire these guys? So the more bands that get a chance to get into, is the better for them. And it worked out for me and for a lot of the guys. Because a lot of the guys with my band has transitioned into greater things, which I'm proud of. Who's now with 18, who's now with Marshall Montano, who's now playing music here, who's playing music for Urban Arms, who's playing music for Mikel Teja. All these guys were with me. A lot of guys, and I see guys on television, and they were with me. And I gave them that opportunity to come and be a part of a band that, you know, I could have helped mold them as youngsters. And now they have matured into, so a lot of the youths want an opportunity. They need to give them a chance. Give them a, you know, so a lot of artists, you know, even like myself, I'm still going, but you know, kind of phasing out a little bit, but you're still gonna keep the momentum going. But the youth need a space, and I always believe in giving the youth a space. But when the youth get the space, they don't respect the space, and the youths have to respect the fact that you have to respect the people that give you the space.
Right. You
have to respect the people. You have to honor the people that give you the space, and not thinking that you're the space. You created the space.
Right.
You didn't create the space. The space was created for you. You know what I'm saying? The people before you, the people before me. As you said, there's the Black Stallions, there's the Sparrows, there's the Shadows, there's the Kitchener, who created a space for artists like myself, Ansem Douglas, Nolly Charles. We came after, we were the party artists. After most of the artists were tent artists. Then you have the party artists came with the bands. So they created a space for us because most of the tent artists was not in pets, you know, until they tried to come out. You would have had the Iowa George and certain people like that. But they created a space for us, and we created a space for next generation. So the generation that this space is created for now have to understand and respect the fact that there were people here before you, and you have to give them that respect. That's basically it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And we did do, just for the record, we did do a live with you guys and the band in terms of practicing.
Correct.
And that was really well received as
Correct.
well.
Correct.
So if you want to, listening here, you could also check out that on Guardsy. We do have Oscar B and Friends. And Vibes the band, yeah. The band, and that was really well received in practicing and stuff. Oscar, I'd like to thank you so much, Oscar B, for doing this interview with Guardsy and letting people know who you are. If they didn't know, now they actually know.
Now you know.
Now they know the music. Some of the new stuff you're working on, take us out with some of that, and thank you so much.
Yeah, man. So I'll take you out with this one. This one is called Socologist, because you know you have all kind of ologists, you know, but this one is Socologist. It's long time, yeah. The song says it, long time I'm doing this.
Thank you very much again, Oscar.
Long time we're doing this thing.
I appreciate you so much, man.
Pleasure being with you, and thanks very much.
And that was Oscar B for everyone as we honor and remember his legacy for the great things he's done. We're about to take a short break, so stay with us as we do that.
Get ready for Generations of Steel, the sweetest pan show bar none.
Featuring Desperados,
Shell Invaders,
Massey Trinidad All-Stars,
First Citizens Supernovas,
and the pride of the South, Fun Clear. Plus their talented youth bands. Saturday, July 11th.
at the iconic Grandstand, Queen's Park, Savannah.
Showtime, 6 p.m. till 10:30 p.m.
All performing their most exciting and multifaceted repertoire. Coolers allowed.
Early bird tickets.
2 buses on 1 ticket for only $350.
The quadraphonic tickets admits 4 persons for only $600.
The single pan tickets cost only $200.
By public demand, early bird tickets remain till Saturday, 4th July.
Additional $10 off for online purchases.
Children 12 and under, accompanied by an adult. Admission is free. Get yours now. Available at ICNTT.com.
At Crosby St. James.
All Kenny Sports.
All Extra Foods Supermarket.
Westby, Tagarigua, Athletes by the Park.
Jumbo Foods Barataria.
GAC Electrical, opposite Starlight. Tigger Martin, Main Road. Tarp Office, Belmont. Mirage Westside Supermarket. Arima. Anderson Fashion, opposite Citygate. Western Union, Tuna Puna, and all participating bands. Presented by Super Pan Man, Dane Gulston and Friends.
Supported by CCNTV6, the Express newspaper, and I-95.5 FM.
For more info, call 732-3402.
Bill and Ruth fell in love with the Benjamin Moore color Dry Sage, but they tried to match it using another brand's paint.
I mean, it's close enough.
Almost identical, really. Yeah, there it is.
Never trust another paint to be a Benjamin Moore color.
You would be surprised, a lot of the patients who present to us with infection in their feet, the infection would have started several days before. Now, the interesting thing is, neuropathy usually goes hand in hand with peripheral arterial disease. So these patients lose the sensation to feel. Now, they may have the ability to have crude touch or general sensation, but that fine sensation, for instance, when a needle sticks them or a thumbtack sticks them, they would lose that sensation.
Correct.
Knowing how to tell authentic is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Find it, match it, search it. Step 1, find the style number on the tag. Step 2, match the style number inside the jersey with the number on the tag. Step 3, search it. A quick Google search of the style number will verify the jersey is authentic when the search results match the jersey being searched. Don't be fooled by counterfeit jerseys. Before you buy, remember to find it, match it, search it.
Fan Zone, 2 locations nationwide. Center City Mall, Chaguanas and Movietown, Port of Spain. Nationwide delivery available.
In this day of stay-at-home and work from home, home has never meant more than it does today. Whether you're looking to buy, rent, or build your new home, now is the time to get going. Gittins & Gittins Real Estate Agents are here to take you to that place of your dreams. Let us take you home. We help you find that rental to rest along the way or journey with you to find your home destination. Investors and commercial enterprises too, call us and we'll walk the distance to place your business in just the right location. Owners, leave the headaches to us. We'll find your tenants or buyers while you stay at home. We'll even manage your property at your bidding. Anything real estate, come home to Gittins & Gittins Real Estate. Call us at 760-3280 or 747-1220 or visit us at 16 Fifth Street in Woodbrook.
Good morning and welcome to AM Prime on WESN. I am Takia Thompson, your host for our Feel Good Friday show. Calypso has long been the voice of Caribbean people, capturing our joys, struggles, politics, and identity through rhythm and storytelling. Now, a new documentary, Bomber's Dream, takes audiences on an intimate journey into the life and legacy of one of the genre's celebrated icons, Clifton, the mighty Bomber Ryan. Directed by his grandson, Jesse Ryan, the 28-minute documentary moves between Trinidad and Toronto, weaving together archival footage, family memoirs, and musical performances to explore not only the man behind the legend, but also the enduring significance of Calypso itself. We turn our attention to our Legend Spotlight segments. More than a tribute, the film is a deeply personal quest to understand heritage, responsibility, and the importance of persevering Caribbean culture, history for future generations. We speak with director Jesse Ryan about the inspiration behind Bomber's Dream and the process of the documentary. Good morning, Jesse.
Good morning, how are you doing?
I'm good, and you?
I'm doing good, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Now, for those who may not know how much about the Mighty Bomber, how would you describe his contribution to Calypso and Caribbean culture?
Yeah, well, my granddad was born on the island of Grenada and immigrated to Trinidad in 1956, and back then there was something called the Old Brigade, which was like the first, collection of Calypsonians that performed in the first tent. And he was mentored by some older Calypsonians. One particularly was the Mighty Spoiler. So they took him to the Old Brigade. He then performed in Sparrow's Young Brigade, sort of like the new wave of the young folks breaking off and doing their own thing. And he became a really important figure because he released his first hit in 1958, which is called Gloria. That song was covered by Harry Belafonte. His song was featured on the LP that Harry released in 1961, which was the first LP to sell over 1 million records. So it's a really important record. He became Calypso King in 1964. He was, mentored by the Spoiler, as I mentioned, and he had a heart for mentoring as well. So he out of his home in Picton Laventille, he sort of had this informal mentorship program for youth. He performed all over the world. He would go on tour with Kitchener and Sparrow and so on. So he was really important. He was also the chief selector in Sparrow's Young Brigade. So he was, responsible for curating the sound of Calypso for a really long time, just by having that role.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I feel like you did touch on it and answer what I'm about to ask next, but for people looking on, what inspired you to turn this musical project into a documentary film?
Yeah, I mean, when we were working on the album, which I have here, it's also called Bomber's Dream. So he passed away in 2022, January 1st, and I had this idea of doing this tribute project to him. And in the process of doing the music, we performed in 2023. And then I was like, you know what, there's a much larger story here. Because a lot of people, for me living in Toronto, even though there's a diasporic connection with the Caribbean community in Toronto, a lot of people wouldn't really, even here in Trinidad, other people don't know about him. So I was like, we can do this record, but there's a much larger story here that needs to be told. So that was kind of the first spark of wanting to make it into a documentary. Yeah.
Why was it important for you to explore not just who the Mighty Bomber was, but also what his legacy means today?
Well, I grew up in Trinidad, grew up in Belmont, grew up around my granddad, hearing him sing. And so I was realizing the more I was looking at his music, that I really didn't know as much as I thought I knew about him.
Right.
And so if I, the grandson of the Mighty Bomber, was realizing I didn't know much about him, far more for people who just, was had further proximity from him. So I also think it's important to capture these stories. One of the things I've realized in the making of this film is that when I tell the stories about my granddad, somebody in the audience ultimately has a connecting story. I'll give you an example. So when we launched last month in Toronto, there was a gentleman called Gordon Creese. He's a Canadian politician. So he started telling me that he was actually living in Trinidad at the time when my granddad became Calypso King in 1964. He was in the Savannah. He was at the March Gras when he won. His wife later was doing some sort of work, and they were posted in Tobago. He loved my grandfather's song about his brother called Tony, who almost drowned. And that song inspired them to fund the building of the first public pool in Tobago. So, and now residents of Tobago benefit from that pool, which started with a song from my grandfather. So as much as this is, my family story, I'm realizing that it's our collective stories,
Wow. And did you feel a sense of responsibility carrying your grandfather's legacy forward through this project that you're doing?
For sure. I growing up, I didn't really talk publicly about my granddad too much. I was always a bit shy about doing that. I didn't want people to feel I was, just name dropping,
Yeah.
you know. So, but recently I've definitely felt more of a responsibility. I think as he was getting older, going into COVID, I was like, you know, he was getting older, he was, you know, ailing. I was like, I always wanted to do something with him musically.
Yeah.
And I was realizing that that probably wouldn't be possible. So, okay, the next best thing to do is to do a tribute project, keep his memory alive and so on. And this musical project ended up being the catalyst for me to start my organization, Kaiser Street Society, which, you know, we're researching Calypso, documenting the stories as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
And did making this film change your understanding of your grandfather?
For sure. I mean, I'll give you an example. So he has one song, which is on the album that we covered, called The Godfather. And in that song, he's talking about being the godfather of Calypso. And that's kind of a bold statement to make, right? Also considering that he didn't necessarily have the same type of commercial career as like a Sparrow or Kitchener had. But the process of making the film, talking to Brother Valentino and Contender, who's, you know, we know him as Mark John as well, was realizing that he knew exactly why he said that. And the reason was, kind of mentioned before, he was the chief selector in the tents.
Yeah.
So he had a sort of godfather type role of curating the song. He basically decided who sang in that tent, right? Who got into the tent.
Nice.
So he mentored so many other people. I didn't know that he also mentored and wrote for Singing Francine, one of the, you know, early female Calypsonians. So that was one of the things that I got a deeper understanding of his contributions to the Calypso art form and how respected he was.
Wow. And now, see, the film itself, it challenges the notion that Calypso is simply party music. So why was it important to highlight its role as a tool for resistance and social commentary?
I mean, black music in any part of the world has this sort of duality in it, right? Where it's feel-good music, you could dance to it, but it's usually talking about, you know, much deeper social or political issues, and Calypso is the master of that. So for me, a lot of, like, especially living outside of Trinidad now, there's a lot of misconceptions about Trinidadians, Caribbean people, about Calypso, and so it's often seen just as party music. And so for me and for my organization, our perspective is that Calypso is music for social change, and it always has been music for social change. And part of the, you know, the colonial sort of strategy was to just make it party music, right? So it doesn't have to actually deal with the real issue. So it's important that we remember what the role of Calypso is. And we saw it happening this year in Damascus, right? The most political Calypso got shut down. But let's not go there right now.
And why or what made the Mighty Bomber such an influential social commentator?
I mean, I think his connection to Spoiler is one, because he basically co-opted, you know, Spoiler's style of delivery, style of writing. He had one phrase he would say all the time, "I want to fall." That came directly from Spoiler. So I think it was that idea of, you know, Spoiler also passed away pretty young. And so he had this mighty but small body of work because of how young he passed away. So I think seeing sort of one of his proteges sort of carry on his legacy was one of the things that kind of set him apart. He was a masterful storyteller. He prided himself on being a great writer, a great lyricist. He had a great sense of melody. And I think his passion for mentoring and teaching sort of put him in a category of his own, because he wasn't just looking after himself, but he was looking after others and the next generation.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what lessons can today's society learn from the messages found in classic Calypso songs?
I mean, one of the things that inspires me when I listen to that stuff is just the excellence that's in the music. So from the melody, from the lyrics, and I think the lesser known people within the Calypso space are the arrangers, the Calypso arrangers who actually, you know, arrange the horn lines, right, the chords, and the musicians that become part of the sound of the music. I think the excellence that they embodied, especially Calypsos, let's say from the 40s up until the 70s, that to me is super inspiring, and I think that's the first thing that I want to encourage people and musicians looking on, calypsonians looking
Yes.
on, to go back to that source material. Because I think we've definitely moved away from that, and that level of excellence is a type of resistance in itself, right? So that's the one thing I would say.
Wow. What was it like revisiting your grandfather's music through arranging, rehearsing, and even performing it?
Yeah, I think it was kind of eye-opening. So the process of doing this was, so I got booked to do this tribute show back in 2023.
Right.
And at that time, I was just putting together it was just a concert.
Yeah.
So I got the confirmation that it's going in October of 2022, and the concert was going to happen in February.
Okay.
So I had, I was busy, so I had like a month to actually sit down and write everything. So the first part of the process was actually transcribing the melodies and the lyrics, and I was realizing that the way that my granddad and a lot of these older calypsonians sang was there was such sophistication in their phrasing and the melodic content. So that was, I was taken aback by how much sophistication there was in the phrasing. It actually took me a while to actually learn some of the melodies because of how complex they were, and trying to reinterpret them. So that was one of the things. My process as an arranger was trying to capture the essence of the song, because this is an instrumental album. There's no lyrics on it, right?
Okay.
So I was trying to take the essence of the song. Like, for example, there's a song on here that's not by my grandma, but from Spoiler. It's a humorous calypso. So I tried to use wacky sort of trumpet and trombone mutes to sort of mimic that sort of comedic, humorous kind of thing. So that was kind of the conceptual approach.
Wow, I love how you went into even share how it's a way that you can play around with music to give that same.
Absolutely, even with all the lyrics.
That's just a beautiful thing right there.
Thank you.
So how did conversations with family members and even cultural figures shape the documentary coming together?
Yeah, that was the thing. Like, that was the best part for me of the documentary, because we shot 2 days in Toronto in the studio recording the music, and you can see that in the film. And then I came to Trinidad to shoot the Trinidad leg of all those interviews, and one of the interviews that stood out to me was 2 of them actually. This one is with Brother Valentino, and he's one of the last living calypsonians of that era, and he was just talking about how respected my granddad was, and how he used the particular phrase that he used was, Bama was every calypsonian's favorite.
Wow.
And I got insight into the sort of world of how the calypsonian, because there's public knowledge and then there's the insider knowledge, right? So it was cool to get that insider knowledge of how well he was respected within the space, and then sitting with my aunts and uncles talking about him. I don't want to give it too many spoilers, but one of the things that came out is that my granddad, I didn't know that he actually stowed away on a boat from Greendot to Trinidad when he was coming here. So I thought it was, he hopped on a plane or something, but I didn't know. So that was one of the things that came out.
Wow.
Yeah.
And now looking at this film, because the song is lovely already, were there any challenges in terms of balancing that personal as well as historical aspects of, his life through the film?
Yeah, there's so much that we were trying to pack into this documentary. The typical short documentary is about 20 minutes long.
Right.
And we had a really hard time condensing the narrative, getting the major pieces into it, and keeping it under 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to, capture his life, capture him as not just a calypsonian, but as a husband, as a dad.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the historic part. So finding some of the archival footage and just supporting materials took us some time.
Yeah.
If I had the chance to do this again, I would try to get a much bigger budget and go after all of that stuff. But yeah, so it was definitely challenging, but I think we accomplished what we were trying to do, which is to actually do ethnographic work, which is to speak with the people who knew him and just kind of get to know him through their perspective and their experiences with him.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, you describe the project as a living archive. So what does that mean to you personally?
It's kind of, the language it's echoing the language of a much larger project that we're working on, which is called the Living's Legend Archive, where we've created a Calypso research kit. Basically, think of it like a checklist or a resource list that we then work with families of Calypsonians and help them document their own stories. As a small organization, there's a lot that we can do, but there's a lot that we cannot do. Right? Calypso history is being lost every single day, with elder generation losing memories and passing on, and the families are the ones who are most equipped to do that work. So the language of saying it's a living what do I say?
Archive.
Living archive. A living archive is mirroring that language, but also the fact that the people who are currently living, even though he's passed on, has these memories and can share it. It's kind of echoing the sentiment of like oral histories. So,
yes, absolutely. Yeah. And what do you hope the audience will take away after watching Bowman's Dream?
I mean, the goal of the documentary is kind of twofold. The first goal was to celebrate my granddad as a Calypso icon, as somebody whose contributions are kind of known to some generations, but very much unknown to younger generations. So it's an intergenerational conversation. Yes. With me taking on his legacy, remembering it, and also adding my own take on his music. And the other thing would be for people to feel a responsibility to remember the stories, to value the stories, to value the people, and to, if you're friends, family members with a Calypsonian, to sit with them, talk with them. Don't throw out that box of records from them. Don't throw out that box of trophies. Like, all of those things are valuable memorabilia that we should hold on to. And if you want to get in contact with me, we're doing that sort of archival work as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, if your grandfather could watch Bowman's Dream, what do you think he would say about it?
Oh man, that's so hard. It's so hard to think. What I do know about him is that he wasn't hard to. You could give him a mug and he would be happy. He was very content, loved his family. So I think he would be proud, and I think he would be happy that we're doing this work, which is kind of why we named it Bowman's Dream. He was very much into looking at the next generation. So I think he would be proud. And didn't think about that before. That's a good question.
It is, it definitely is. And how can persons ensure that the Calypso stories and the traditions continue to be passed on to future generations?
Start a Calypso playlist. Share it with your kids. If you know somebody that's a Calypsonian, have informal interviews with them if you're family members, or even formal ones, like take on your own documentation projects. In Trinidad, we talk a lot, but sometimes we don't have the action to go behind it, right? So sometimes we say we value Calypso, we say we value the older generation, but when it comes to actually doing it, we don't.
So tend to fall short.
So not to toot my own horn, but like come and see the film. Right, come see the film, because it's not just my story, it's our story as a nation, and also the panel discussion that we're having at the end of the film. I think there's going to be some important people in the room, and I'm looking forward to not just showing the film, but actually taking some action and mobilizing a group of like-minded people to do this work, because a lot of Calypso history hasn't really been documented well.
So this is where we go into that part of it. Tell us a bit about the premiere, where the location is at the time, and how can persons get onto you to, show up and be a part of it?
Yeah, so the premiere is happening tomorrow evening. Doors open at 6:30, and the premiere starts at 7 p.m.
Right.
Followed by a panel discussion. The panel is going to be hosted actually by Jiran Remy, we know him as DJ Rocos, and it's going to feature Wendell Manwarin from Tree Canal, Maria Nunes, and Kimi Stott Robinson, and myself. tickets are $60 advance, $80 at the door, and we have a student fee, offer of $40.
Okay.
We're making it super easy for people to reserve.
Yeah.
You can contact me, just text Bomber to 1-647-739-1805. Text Bomber to 1-647-739-1805.
Nice. And the location?
The location at the International School, which is right after West Mall on the left.
Lovely.
Yeah.
So I feel like we got it. And in terms of having persons come out and really get to capture not just any Calypsonian, but someone who had such a great impact in the Calypso world. I think that's very beautiful what you're doing.
Thank you.
And you continue to capture these stories because, as you said, it is a bit difficult to get that Calypso through the lens. So it's very, very important what you're doing, and continue to do it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so thanks for coming on this morning and being a part of the conversation.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Guys, we're about to take a short break, and when we come back, we have more engaging conversations, so stay with us.
Remember waking up early just to catch your favorite cartoons? WESN brings back those magical mornings with Retro Saturdays.
Thus, the Powerpuff Girls were born!
Where the young at heart relive the fun. Join us every Saturday from 8 a.m. to 12 noon, only on WESN, the content capital.
FanZone, your reliable, authentic supplier, has just gotten better. You can now visit our website www.fanzonett.com for your authentic wear and collectibles. The only place where you can use both your Visa debit and credit cards. Visit our website fanzonett.com to make your purchase today.
Our award-winning show is back, and this season promises to be even more exciting than before. What's Up, Doc isn't just a title, it's a call to action for anyone who wants to improve their health and well-being. Join us on this thrilling ride towards better health on WESN Content Capital.
Welcome back. From the hills of Laventille to stages across the globe, the steel pan has become one of Trinidad and Tobago's greatest gifts to the world. But behind every note is a story, a legacy, and generations of musicians who have dedicated their lives to keeping the art form alive. We talk more in our Legend Spotlight segment. Steel pan is more than just our national instrument. It tells the story of Trinidad and Tobago. This weekend, music lovers are invited to experience that story through Generations of Steel, a concert bringing together seasoned legends and rising stars for one unforgettable evening. Joining us this morning to tell us more is the man behind the event, Dean Galston. Good morning, Dean.
Good morning. It's, I should say welcome. When it comes to the national instrument, I'm telling everybody welcome, because I'm not only talking about locals, but I'm talking about international, you know?
Yes.
It's always a pleasure when it comes to showcasing the talent, especially coming from the youth, you know, and showcasing what Trinidad and Tobago have to offer to the world and locally, all right? I'm saying all this to say the Generations of Steel is really to showcase mainly the youth, all right? We have generations going and even, you know, preparing for the future. But a lot of times people don't get the chance to know exactly what's going on. But plenty of the youths in and around Trinidad and Tobago.
Right.
So Generations of Steel right now is just to show exactly what some of the major steel orchestras or prominent steel orchestras have to more or less carry themselves forward and keep their legacy going, all right?
Yeah.
For instance, Generation of Steel is, it comprises of 5 steel orchestras, all right? From the regions. We have Supernovas coming from the east. We have Fontclair, all right? Coming from south, with Fontclair and Supernovas, they're both senior and junior. And then we have Desperados, right? All Stars. And we also have Invaders, all right? And these bands have a lot of youth programs that they do, all right? Not only with the steel pan, but they do other stuff and in and around their communities when it comes to the youth. So the idea came up both from myself and a buddy of mine, Mr. Gerard Mendez. We also involved with a band in Sun Valley, and Sun Valley have a lot of youths, and we did an event, a very smaller event called 2-in-1, all right, where we showcase the same thing in terms of the senior and the junior bands, all right. So we think we should do it in a wider scale, because we keep saying give the youth a chance, but we're not actually presenting a platform for them to have the chance, all right? So for them to play with their seniors and also to play with other bands that they may not have that opportunity at times to always see, hear, and understand what it takes to be a performer and a panist, if you want to call that a professional panist, all right? I think the idea, we need to keep doing it more and more when it comes to, yes, giving youth a chance, but really put it there for them to have the chance for them to go forward, all right? Yeah. Now, the event is going to take place July 11th, Saturday, July 11th, all right?
Yeah.
And I mean, we're going to get a full diverse in terms package when it comes to performance. Each band will have 45 minutes on stage, and when Supernova's on stage or any of the other bands on stage, you have the junior and the senior in that 45 minutes.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And now you're known for your versatility as a musician also. So how has your own musical journey influenced the way you designed this show?
Yeah, well, professionalism, all right? just saying in terms of trying to make it as a spectacle as I can make it, all right? Making sure that the song is right, making sure that the bands and also know that performing is the key for future, all right?
Right.
You know, you want to perform, you also want to look a certain way also, all right? Because when you're on that stage or in that performance, all right, it could be in whatever you call big or small, all right? You have to perform and present yourself well, all right?
Yeah.
Make sure, you know, I mean, I will be stressing on making sure you have a total diverse repertoire. It could be classical, it could be, you name it, all genres of music, all right? So the world and your community can actually understand what you're trying to present, so that, and also in terms of how the set will look, in terms of the stage, and that the full grandstand is going to, in the kind of, if you want to call, change and look a little different. I will try my best, you know what I mean? It's very hard now, in terms of making sure that you, quote unquote, get funding to make sure that, you know, what you envision happen.
Right.
But we're going to try to, because being on tour with a number of artists, you see how international, you know, the audience, they really bring a concert to life.
Right.
And for you to get the understanding of how important what you doing is, you have to, it had to look good, you have to song good, you know. Yeah, that whole, I just say, wherever you perform must look and be prepared, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So because of my experience, especially playing with Trinidad All Stars also, and we perform in, you know what I mean, from New York to right in the Caribbean to England, you know what I mean, all over the world. They make sure that you look and you feel good on stage and song good on stage. So this is what I'm going to try to bring to this concert.
Wow. And I heard you mention some of the challenges. If you can dive in a bit more on that, in terms of what has been the biggest challenge, and besides funding, what are some other challenges that you may have had to encounter to bring an event like this together?
Well, I mean, because of how everything is, I mean, not just in Trinidad and Tobago, but the whole world, finance is really and truly our, you know, biggest hurdle. You know, getting people to support this financially. All right. I mean, we asking people to, you know, they're saying in terms of the tickets are going well. All right. Because I know when it comes to Trinidad and Tobago, supporting the youths, I think we really we do well. You know what I mean? Because we have, as I say, you have a lot of youths in the steel orchestras, and you're seeing a lot of their parents coming, both mothers and fathers, or however it goes, uncles, aunts, and we're getting some nice feedback in terms of people asking to, you know, hold tickets for us and all that. But that alone can cover our expenses. All right. So in terms of financial sponsorship, you know, we're not really hearing people saying yes just yet. And we really want to make this happen right. You know what I mean? I've been as honest and truthful as I could.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That financial hurdle, it's really tall. Really tall in terms of, you know, that's to make sure we're doing the show at the grandstand, Queen's Park Savannah. All right. And I just said that I really would like it to look a certain way.
Yes.
But, you know, I mean, you have to, you know, spend to gain, you know, but when you don't really have all to spend, you know what I mean, sometimes you kind of have that a little bit of mediocrity, you know, not things not happening as you would like it to happen, but hopefully still have time.
Yeah.
You know, people will come on board and really support. I had to stress again, let me say, giving the youths a chance. We really have to spend on the youth, all right? We really have to invest on the youth. Plenty of the bigger steel bands, all right, they go out and fight it, and they're already technically prominent, right? But if we're doing a show, when it comes to the youth, we have to make sure that they're well taken care of, you know what I mean? Everything, when it comes to giving them, you know, something in terms of, if it's making sure they have water, juice, a snack, you know, and even giving them something to perform, which is, I think, is very important, all right? Plain talk, actually paying them to come and perform. And if we don't really get that kind of financial assistance, it's a little hard.
Yeah. And in terms of how our culture is following on the timeline, why was it important to celebrate Steel Pan in this way?
Oh, well, we're supposed to be celebrating Steel Pan year round.
Right.
All right? I trying to make this show one of the biggest show after Panorama. All right? And Pan have no real season.
Yeah.
Pan, you're supposed to be making Pan part of your home, all right? So, I mean, yes, I choose this time to do it. Now, school is out, right? Yeah. So it make it a little easier for the bands to get prepared, right? In terms of the youth bands, right? All of the bands practice, and I've seen a lot of events coming up, all right? I see Power Stars having something, all right, coming. There's a weekend. I think it's one of the weekends here, all right? And I'm just saying, in terms of this is great.
Right.
So we have we have to keep showcasing the national instrument, the steel pan.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm all pan. There's no season. No season. So I really celebrating the youth, and I really want to get those youths and them doing something positive. And also, because it's let's say in terms of school is out, all right, school break, to bring their peers to see them perform. But that's one of the things too we're not seeing, you know, and in terms of trying to bridge the gap. They're seeing youths performing, but they're not seeing youths at the event. So that's one of the things that, you're not seeing enough youth at the event. So we're making this as a real kind of family outing, all right, and a family concert to come to.
Yeah.
All right? Yeah, it's important. And as you ask, you know, why I choose to do it now and celebrate. Pan is something to celebrate. I'm telling you, once you have that instrument, any part of the world, you're walking in the airport, you're on a plane, you know, people just, panics, you know. I was going to somewhere, and a lady, all right, of Caucasian, all right,
yeah.
The lady said, I play the steel drums, you know, and now she play piano, and she was real happy to see I come out with the steel pan, you know, as part of my luggage, kind of, you know, and just saying, you know, it's always great to celebrate the pan.
Yeah, absolutely. And what legacy do you hope this concert leaves for future generations of musicians?
Oh, well, you know, as I said, generation, I hope to make this event an event that people could put on their calendar, all right? So they can actually, people could come in and wanting to come to generations of steel in the future, because, all right, you're seeing the seniors, and then you're seeing the juniors coming right behind or mixing with the
them,
seniors, all right, with them, all right. So that legacy and seeing, all right, where the band's legacy going. You know what I mean? You have All Stars, we have an academy. Our academy is from 8 to 88 or 9 to 90. You know what I mean? So when you could see, I mean, right in the Panyard, you see it all the time. Right? Where you get doctors, lawyers, you name it, you name it. Plumbers, carpenters, you know, everybody mix in the Panyard.
Yeah.
All right? And now with the youth. And they play together because this year for Panorama, especially with All Stars, we had youths who still play in the junior band, all right? But becoming real seniors, you know, young adults, and they play with the senior bands. So I you know, that legacy, I would like people to see how they keep seeing it, how the generations really coming together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Lifetime generation.
Yeah. And if for someone who has never attended a steel pan concert, why is this event the perfect start?
Yeah, well, you see, the music. Come and experience, you know, the diverse styles of music and what the steel pan can really do.
Right.
All right? Because some people still in Trinidad and Tobago, they really don't listen to the steel pan because some people say, oh gosh, it's kind of noisy, you know?
Right.
But really and truly, when you're doing different genres of music, other than just our music, calypso and soca, chutney, all right? And might be if you want to call a little bit loud because it's a lot of pans at one time, especially for Panorama, right? When you're doing a classical piece, or you're doing an R&B, or you know, or you're doing a reggae, it's a different texture of playing. So you need to show that versatility, and you have to come and understand. Listen, this is a different kind of concert, all right? What's yet is you know, you see in the youth playing maybe a classical piece, right, or doing a jazz number, right? So it's a different type of concert,
right?
All right, yeah. So you know, you could come and then that touch and that if you want to call, I call it silky playing. You know, like the Robert Greenwich, God bless his soul. You know, you hear that different kind of vibe. You know what I mean? It makes you fall in love with the instrument, and I want people to come and really fall in love with their national instruments.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you care, you have to be there.
Absolutely. So give us the time again and the date for the event.
Yeah. Right. So the date is July 11th.
Yeah.
All right. It started at 6 p.m. at the grandstand, right, at the Queen's Park Savannah. And you can get tickets also at all, you know, at Crosby's, right, extra foods. And you can pull up also, all right, just pull up the Ingolston, you see Generation of Steel at all the panyards that is advertised, all right, the All Stars, the Desperados, right, the Invaders, the Supernovas, and the Frontclair, right? You can get tickets. You can get tickets in South, all right. As I said, all the extra foods all over, all right. And the tickets is very, 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 very reasonable, all right. It's 201, and then we have a 350, all right. And then we be going on. It just as soon as you buy more tickets, you know what? Once you buy more tickets, it gets cheaper. All right, and that will go until around the 4th of July. Right, again, you know, come and support the youth. Really, basing this one on the youth.
Yeah.
You know, and they are definitely the future.
Absolutely.
When it comes to representing the national instrument.
Yes. Agreed wholeheartedly. If you have one message to leave with the viewers about the steel pan, what would that message be?
Make steel pan part of your home, all right? get the youths into the steel pan, because it helps them with the academic, all right? It helps them with their coordination, right? And to support, so, you know, sometimes even self here, you don't have a total interest of bringing the youth as an adult, all right? You yourself come into a steel band and see exactly what we do, right, when it comes to making sure that the steel pan is respected, all right? And we are to really and truly continue and try our best to respect the instrument for what it is.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
So, and I'm saying again, if you care, be there. July 11th, all right?
Yeah.
Adi Savannah, I love you, and, you know, thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dane, for coming on and sharing with us.
Yeah, it's a pleasure and honor, and I hope to see you there.
Yes,
right?
I hope to see myself there. I'll be looking forward to it.
Yeah, you and your whole crew.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right?
Guys.
Yeah, blessings to Trinidad and Tobago.
Thank you, Dane.
All right.
Thank you. Guys, as we wrap up today's show, we hope that everything was informative. You're able to take something, and there are greater things to look forward to on July 11th. So make sure and go on out with your families. I want to thank all our guests for being on as well. And as I always say to close, stay safe, stay informed, stay positive. Up next, we do have Sean Michael Small at 8 with Talking Points. And I'll see you again tomorrow morning. Goodbye.
WESN.
Get ready for Generations of Steel, the sweetest pan show bar none.
Featuring Desperados,
Shell Invaders,
Massey Trinidad All-Stars.